Hello everyone, welcome back to the Chief Show. It is me, your host, Oscar Gutierrez, aka Big Chief. Like always, please comment below, click on that like button, and please subscribe as it will be much appreciated. Today we are here to present to you the famous movie that kicked off Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie career into the movie industry, the famous 1988 Bloodsport. Let's go! Next to Jean-Claude Van Damme, you have the famous Bolo Yeung, who plays a deadly, dangerous fighter, Chong Li, who also stars as Frank Duke's biggest rival in the movie. You see here in the next few clips, various fighters getting ready for the deadly underground martial arts tournament, the Kumite. Bloodsport brings you fighters breaking wood beams with their kneecaps, jumping on trees, cracking coconuts with their hand, kung fu martial artists going full-blown Bruce Lee with some Brazilian capoeira, American boxing, and overall some Japanese sumo strongman martial arts. The American boxer hitting the punching bag is played by Ray Jackson, who begins a friendship and a bond with Frank Dukes during the Kumite tournament. Action Jackson is a big corn-fed, beer-swelling brawler who wants nothing but to win the Kumite tournament. Just like in my previous videos, for those of you who don't know or who have not seen the famous Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport or have not seen some of his other hits, I put 4 clips of my favorite 4 Jean-Claude Van Damme movies such as Cyborg, Street Fighter, Lionheart, and Universal Soldier. I will for sure make videos for these movies, so please stay tuned. If there's a special movie you want me to make, please comment below and let me know. I also added the famous 1989 movie Kickboxer dance scene that has blanketed the social media world, and it is just so entertaining seeing Jean-Claude Van Damme break out his dance moves. In Bloodsport, you will find award Oscar-winning actor Forest Whitaker play Rollins as a military police detective searching for Frank Dukes during the movie. Forest Whitaker also played in some really great movies such as Platoon and Star Wars Rogue One as Saw Gerrera. Another huge co-star of Jean-Claude Van Damme is the famous Bolo Yeung, the Chinese Hercules and the former Hong Kong bodybuilding champion. Bolo Yeung has starred in movies with the famous Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon, and has also done multiple movies with Jean-Claude Van Damme himself. Another great movie worth mentioning is Double Impact. So the movie Bloodsport starts where Frank Dukes is working out, where all of a sudden he gets informed to go see his commanding officer because the army found out that Dukes will be entering the Kumite. Frank Dukes ignores the command and goes AWOL and heads over to see his ill mentor and teacher, Sensei Tanaka. Visiting his ill Sensei Tanaka, Dukes pleads with Tanaka to train him so he can fight in the Kumite on Tanaka's behalf. The training is intensive, but Dukes does not give up no matter how painful and how many falls he must take. Tanaka trains him in a fight blind and even teaches the art of catching shrimp with his bare hands. After earning the Tanaka black belt and enduring pain and reaching the pinnacle of the Tanaka way, he is now able to master the art of serving afternoon tea blindfolded. Dukes has one more trial he has to face, and that is the Tanaka, I'm gonna stretch your legs until you give in or you scream really loud, or your legs just get pulled apart. You can see the agony that Dukes has, but knowing Dukes, he powers through and he's able to obtain the Tanaka sword. Once Frank Dukes finishes the Tanaka training, Dukes gets awarded the Tanaka sword, and Tanaka gives Dukes his formal blessing to fight in Hong Kong in the Kumite. Once arriving at Hong Kong, we get introduced to the famous Action Ray Jackson in the hotel room where they meet for the first time playing a karate video game. In the hotel room, they get greeted by another gentleman named Victor Lin. Lin introduces himself and tells Dukes and Jackson that he has been assigned to assist them during the Kumite. Lin takes them to a hole-in-the-wall place known as No Man's Land, where inside that place, the Kumite is located. Here you see Jackson and Dukes going into the famous Kumite where they get approached by the judges. The judges were a bit worried if Dukes was an actual student of Tanaka's. They insist he has to prove this claim by demonstrating the dim mech. Dukes must shatter the bottommost brick without damaging the rest of the bricks. Dukes successfully demonstrates that easily. This is where you hear the legendary "Brick Don't Hit Back" by the famous Chong Li. After the dim mech, the first day of the Kumite arrives and Frank Dukes is warming up in his room with his famous splits. The first round of bouts are starting off with Action Jackson going up against the first and unknown ring fighter. Action Jackson gets a kick to the face where he counters with a massive punch, winning by knockout. Celebrating early, Action Jackson points at Chong Li where Chong Li is caught off guard, not knowing what the hell is going on. Now you see fighters flexing their muscle. You see Chong Li blowing his boogers out. To where now you see Frank Dux starting his first fight, finishing his Syrian opponent, Hussein. The match goes to Dux with an easy finish as Dux gives him the deadly "I'm gonna punch you in the nuts if you keep running your mouth." The first round of fights continue as the Kumite fighters are showing their swag and fighting skills by dancing, getting kicked in the face. You see a fighter rolling on the floor. I'm not entirely sure what the hell that is. You see fighters punching the air. You see the fans showing their appreciation as if the Kumite was live on pay-per-view. As the fans celebrate, more fights continue as Big Action Jackson just manhandles his opponent. You see another big burly Japanese sumo fighter, Pumelu, break some ribs, and you see Dux kicking his way to victory. We finally meet Frank Dux' love interest, Janice. I'm not entirely sure what Janice is looking at. She could be looking at the sweat, blood, or even Chong Li himself. We see more of Frank Dux' high-flying street fighter trained by the famous Tanaka kicking skills, and we're even shown the famous Chong Li, "I'm gonna lick you and beat you with my tongue" action to finish off the first round of the Kumite. After the first round of the Kumite, you see Helmer and Rollins eating lunch when Inspector Chen informs them about the whereabouts of Frank Dux. They immediately confront Dux at the hotel where Dux leads them on an amusing chase all around Hong Kong. Immediately, we jump into the famous love scene between Janice and Frank Dux. So ladies, get ready and don't spill your wine glass as we see Dux flexing his glutes while he's fixing and stretching his male thong. After the famous love scene between Janice and Dux, we get ready for round 2 of the Kumite. We see bouts between Dux, Chong Li, Pumelu, and just eliminating various fighters. As round 2 of the Kumite continues, we notice the matches become more intense as both fighters land various combinations. The match between Frank Dux and the big burly Japanese sumo fighter Pumelu begin, where we see Dux deliver a vicious roundhouse kick, but Pumelu counters, catches the leg, leading Dux to defend himself by a signature split move. Frank Dux recovers his tempo and gives Pumelu one final Superman punch to the gut and one Superman punch to the nuts. Now it's time for Action Ray Jackson and Chong Li to square off. Being ignorant, Jackson lands a few good punches and puts Chong Li down. Celebrating early, Chong Li comes back victoriously and finishes off Jackson by brutally stomping Jackson's head with his foot. Chong Li then pulls Jackson's bandana and claims it as victory. Once the fight is over, Janice and Dux have a heated argument outside the hospital as they discuss Dux continuing the Kumite. This leads to Dux having time for himself and doing the splits on one of the highest peaks in Hong Kong, so get ready for another split scene where we're about to enter the semifinals of the Kumite. The match is set against Dux and Paco, and now things are getting serious as Elmer and Rollins and Janice attend the Kumite. The fight starts by Paco extending his fist and tricking Dux, where Paco lands a vicious cheap shot to where Chong Li takes notes. Frank Dux comes back like a bat out of hell and is enraged at a cheap shot by Paco that now Dux comes unhinged to where a kicking contest brawl starts. Nothing but kicks are being kicked to where this becomes one of the most famous scenes in this movie. Eventually, Dux wins the kicking battle to where you see Dux deliver the final kick to end the match. As Chong Li takes notes, he actually admires what just occurred, but nothing makes Janice more excited than seeing Dux win a match. Chong Li starts his match against Chuang Mong where he encounters the stiffest resistance, but even Chuang Mong can't withstand the power of Chong Li. After dodging various punches and kicks, Chuang Mong falls to where you see Chong Li land multiple punches, putting Chuang Mong down. Chong Li lands a super punch and finishes Chuang Mong to where Chong Li approaches Dux and delivers the famous "You are next." The final match is finally upon us. You have the American Frank Dux versus the big man from Hong Kong, Chong Li. Before the match starts, you see Chong Li's trainer slip a small chunk of chalky substance into the waistband of Chong Li's trunks. If you notice quickly, you see Action Jackson's bandana tied around the foot of Chong Li. As the fighters approach each other, Chong Li utters the famous words, "You break my record, and now I break you." Frank Dux not being faced at all as he's heavily focused on the last match with the famous Chong Li himself. Frank Dux is ready to put boot to ass on the Hong Kong Hercules. The fight starts by Dux delivering some high action kicks and just kicking his way through the match. is all he has to worry about. But even with those high intensity kicks, you see the strength and the power of Chong Li himself, as those kicks delivered by Frank Dux are not causing too much damage. The final fight is bringing the best from each fighter. Chong Li relying on his strength in classic martial arts, where you see Frank Dux focus on speed and counterattacks. This is where the fight becomes one-sided as Chong Li brings out the chalk that was hidden in his trunks, crushes it into a powder, and he immediately follows to throw the powder right into Frank Dux' eyes. Dux, tired and helpless, and aside from having his vision taken out by the chalky powder, Dux appeared to go immediately into damage control. On the mat, Chong Li takes advantage of the situation and begins to put a world of hurt as Dux is stunned by the powder. The crowd seems to enjoy the fight, and even the judges are not aware of what's going on. On the mat, screaming into frustration, Dux suddenly clears his mind and appears to go into meditation during the match. He summons the full force of the Tanaka training and begins to have visions early on of him fighting blindfoldly. The flashbacks are shown of his training with Old Man Tanaka, and it appears that Dux is learning to operate through his other senses. This is the only way that he can break through the blurry vision. Dux blocking a punch to the head and quickly throwing a ground sidekick to Chong Li's stomach. Chong Li goes flying to the mat. Chong Li continues to fight dirty as he tries to throw the ref into him, but Dux carefully recognizes the dirty trick and carefully eases the ref to safety. The crowd is just going crazy as they can't believe that Frank Dux is back in the match. At this point, Dux recognizes that there is only one way to defeat Chong Li, and that is to go full Blitzberg on hammer kicks to the famous spinning wheel kicks, as Frank Dux does not settle for a mere knockout as he establishes absolute dominance over Chong Li. The match now has gone to Frank Dux, and at this point Chong Li is completely stunned by the spinning kicks that all he can do is just stand there and takes kick to the face. The kicks become too much for Chong Li, and you see him fall into a deep loop. Chong Li won't want another kick to the face for another movie or for a long time. As Chong Li falls to the mat, you see Dux putting him in the famous Tanaka chokehold, where Dux wants Chong Li to tap out and declare the famous "Say it." Chong Li taps out, and you see the referee gesture to give Frank Dux victory over Chong Li. The crowd goes wild, and you see Dux take back Action Jackson's bandana. We end up back at the hospital as Janice and Dux go visit Action Jackson. Jackson is pounding a beer, and both of them have an intimate moment about brotherhood, fighting, the kumite, and something about anytime, anywhere. The next scene, you see Helmer and Rollins wait for Dux at the airport, frustrated and nervous that Frank Dux is not going to show up. Little did they know that Dux is already on the plane. The movie ends by Dux giving Janice the famous Chinese covered fist salute. Please check out the movie Bloodsport. I highly recommend this movie as it was the first movie that kicked off Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie career. Like always, please give me a like, comment below, and please subscribe to the Chief Show as we have tons of movies to review. For right now, please enjoy a clip of Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the splits.